So we're going to kick things off with a posterior pelvic tilt. This is a really important concept for us to understand before we start any of our movements to make sure that our core is engaged and our back is supported. So tuck your pelvis in so that your belly button goes towards your sternum. Press every vertebrae into the floor so you don't even have enough room to get a sheet of paper under your back. That's when we know that our abs are nice and tight and engaged. Then when we're in a standing position, this is the same stance, the same posterior tilt we're going to have when we're doing a squat. So tuck the pelvis in so you're directly under the sternum, squeeze the glutes, and imagine if my back were pressed against the floor right now, I wouldn't have any space under my back. Really feel as if a band is pulling tight against your belly, against your lower abs, and squeeze those glutes. And now for our ready posture, making sure that we roll our shoulders back and down, taking those shoulder blades back into our back pockets so that we have a nice posture. But remember, don't let your pelvis come out of that pelvic tilt. Keep it nice and tucked as the shoulders come back. Now for the squat, I want you to keep those shoulders back and down. Keep yourself in posterior pelvic tilt. Then you're going to lead with your hips back like you're going to sit down into a chair. Now, once you're there, look down at your knees and make sure that your knees are aligned with your second and third toe. There shouldn't be any caving in. Really come down to about the depth of your knees, drive through the heels, and stand. For our hip hinge movement, again, shoulders back in the back pockets, keeping that pelvic tuck. Then you're going to slide your fingers down your legs and really keeping that nice straight line. So what I want you to do is lead with your hips. I'm going to turn here to the side here in a second. I want you to really pay attention and notice that I am not squatting. This is me leading with my hips. Everything is from the hip movement. That's why it's called a hip hinge. All right, there's just a slight bend in my knees. Notice how my back is still nice and straight. My neck is in alignment with my spine. I'm not looking up and crunching my neck, keeping those abs engaged and that posterior pelvic tilt throughout the entire movement. Then we're going to take it into a lunge position. So really driving on through here. Notice I've got a 90-degree angle. My knee stays stacked over my ankle. In no way does my knee go up in front of my ankle. All right. Notice I'm sitting up nice and tall, keeping my shoulders back, and I'm driving through that heel. So I'm engaging my glutes and the back of my legs every time from that front leg. Now for a lateral lunge, I want you to take it, we're going to burn out one leg at a time, but take one step. Notice that my feet are parallel to each other, that they're not turning. They're completely parallel to each other, and I'm driving my hips back. I'm not letting my knees go past my toe. I'm keeping my heel glued to the floor, and I'm driving my hips back and then pushing off from the outside of my foot. Then from there, we're going to take it into a push-up position. Roll those shoulders back and down. Keep that posterior pelvic tilt, making sure we're engaging and feeling this under our armpits. All right, so that's where the lats, the anterior serratus is. Really focus on coming down and keeping everything engaged and press. Feel under the armpits. Now, when we're here on our knees, or here's a modification, you're going to come down on your toes, and then when you're needing to fight gravity, come to your knees and press up from your knees. Down from the toes, press up from the knees. But a more regressed version is to do it all on your knees, which is totally fine. We're just going to take it up to varying progressions depending on where you start. Now with your knees here, just still make sure those shoulders are back and down and you're really feeling, again, under the armpits, and feel your abs having to work here to keep you nice and straight. Don't let your back arch. The plank. So bringing your elbows directly under your shoulders, roll those shoulders back and down, really engage, tuck that pelvis under, make sure that your back is nice and flat, that we're not having any scooping or arching in the back. You should feel this in your core and stabilization through the shoulders. Another alternative or a regression is to take it to your knees.